NVIDIA RTX 50 series GPUs are absolutely disappearing from the market right now, and their prices on the remaining models are skyrocketing. Has NVIDIA finally abandoned gamers? Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is our Q&A for August 2026, and we're going to take a look at a rapidly developing situation where NVIDIA GPUs aren't just raising prices in the US, they're absolutely selling out almost of all models from the 5060 all the way up to the RTX 5090. We'll also take a look at AMD GPU prices. Are they going up as well? If you get value out of this video, please give it a like. Of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows licenses and that terrible Activate Windows watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCD Key and get a Windows 11 OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for additional 25% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom! Windows is fully licensed for a crazy low price. And they have Microsoft Office licenses too. Use the links in the video description. All right, we got 3DD asking, is it worth buying the RTX 5080 now or waiting till next year for the super version? I start school in September and I need it for my work. I've got some terrible news about NVIDIA GPUs. It seems like NVIDIA has given up on gaming GPUs altogether, and I want to show you the evidence because I just think the community needs to see this right now. Right now, this is for the RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte, $800. Now, some people say, Jason, you've been telling us for a while that the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte is likely going away in favor of some future RTX 5060 12 gigabyte GPU that NVIDIA can produce more cheaply with these 3 gigabyte Samsung GDDR7 modules than they can with all this extra 16 gigs of RAM, and they're going to be about the same performance. This is what NVIDIA's just sliding this in. No big deal, right? So we expect the 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte to effectively go out of stock, and then we'll get this 5060 12 gigabyte. Well, that's what I thought too, until I saw this. What is this going on? This is the RTX 5070 12 gigabyte. So again, 12 gigs of VRAM, and it's the cheaper 2 gigabyte modules. The 3 gigabyte modules, as we'll go through in just a moment, cost more. $800. In fact, I posted one of these this morning for $699. I'm like, if you want this thing, get it now. It's sold out very, very quickly. I then replaced it with another posting of this one down here, which was at $749. Immediately, I think as soon as somebody bought one, the price popped up to $849. This is what we're facing right now. This is a $549 MSRP GPU, and you could get it below MSRP. Below MSRP, during Amazon Prime Day in June, just a couple months ago. Okay, Jason, there's something going on with the 5070. What's the big deal there? Let's keep going. RTX 5070 Ti's, earlier this year, we heard that these were out of production. Didn't seem like that actually happened. It seemed like it was just a lull around the holidays from last year to this year. The GPU did come back into stock, yes, in eye-watering $899, about $900, but right now, $1,100. $1,100, and that is the cheapest right now. And I'm not sure that we've seen the last of the price increases around these. The other thing that I'm freaking out a little bit about is the fact that some of these GPUs, if I just go here and I say only sold by Newegg, so we're not seeing third-party sellers here, I'm only seeing listings for gigabyte GPUs. Where's all the MSI ones except the high-end ones? Where's all the cards that are designed to be MSRP models? They just don't even exist here. Now we're down in the combo deals. They're not even there. Even if I go to the sold out ones on the next page right here, there's just nothing left whatsoever. We got the Ventus one, it's $839, and we got the Gigabyte Aero. But where's all the other ones from PNY, from Zotac, all the other cards that are designed to basically be the MSRP cards? They just don't exist. Now the bad news continues with the RTX 5080. Just yesterday, I could still pick one up for like $1,249, $1,399 at the highest in terms of the lowest entry models. Now, $1,549 is your base entry. That's a base entry, and that actually ships not even from the US. Again, if we go to the ones that are sold and shipped by Newegg, so we get rid of the third-party sellers in here, $1,579, $1,599, almost $1,600 for an RTX 5080. That is 60% over its MSRP. Now, before you begin to think, oh, okay, that's just the high end of GPUs, don't worry, we still got the 5060, 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte, we got the RTX 5050. Here's the RTX 5060. There isn't a single model for less than $460. For the RTX 5060, a $299 MSRP card with only 8 gigs of VRAM on it, you would expect this card is one that you should be able to pick up right now. But look at this. Oh, they got one down here. Extra discount available for $469. How much is the extra discount? It's basically $20. It's $20, so it's $449. That is insane right now. We're seeing these actually evaporate in real time. But don't worry if you want an RTX 5050, the only ones that are really left here, again, $249 MSRP, $299 for the low profile one. Now, a lot of people want that one. It's downclocked a little bit. Then we got 320, 324, 339, and then all of a sudden, $460. $460. Where's all the Zotac and all the lower kind of entry-level models here? They're just basically gone. Now, it's been widely reported that we were expecting more NVIDIA GPU price hikes because NVIDIA is hiking the price of their GPU die and memory package that they sell directly to their add-in board partners that then go ahead and manufacture the rest of the card and slap it together. But this is beyond that, because this is not simply prices go up. This is also models disappearing entirely. Look at this. Japanese retailer warns RTX 5070 Ti and 5080 restocks are unstable. Tells buyers to hurry. This is published just like basically 10 days ago. Now, when I initially read this, I thought, okay, maybe there's something going on in the Asia Pacific market. But honestly, it looks like it's spread basically globally at this point. And this Japanese retailer was telling people they don't know about future on restocks around RTX 50 series cards that are current generation. We're not talking about old stuff that they're just not going to make anymore. We're talking about stuff that they're still supposed to be manufacturing right now. And these retailers are basically saying, we don't know if we're going to have any more. It sure seems like NVIDIA is absolutely abandoning the gaming market, something we've talked about in the past, given how dominant AI is right now as their main income driver. But let's just take a second here. One possible explanation here, and this might be possible, is that NVIDIA wanted to launch the RTX 50 Super Series. They were going to take over the market basically from most of the existing lineup. And unfortunately, all those RTX 50 Super cards are on hold right now over the 3 GB GDDR7 modules. Remember, what they're going to do is instead of changing the number of memory chips on the card itself, they're going to use higher density memory. So all those 2 GB RAM modules are going to get replaced by 3 GB RAM modules. You can therefore increase the VRAM on a GPU by 50% without doing anything to its underlying memory architecture, which seems like a huge win, until you look at the cost for that. Now, according to their source at Video Cards, 3 GB GDDR7 chips currently cost between $60 and $70. You're like, okay, well, that sounds like memory's gone up. But a standard 2 GB GDDR7 chip costs $20. It's $10 per gigabyte. Meanwhile, the 3 GB chips are $20 to $25-ish per gigabyte. So on a per gigabyte basis, you're thinking about spending 2 to 2.5 times as much. It's so crazy, for instance, if we consider a card like the RTX 5060 Super, not pictured here, unfortunately, but we'll take the RTX 5060, it would normally have 4 2 GB chips, right? So 4 chips that cost $20 each, that's $80 to get you 8 gigs of memory. In order to replace the 5060 Ti 16 GB with a 12 GB version of the 5060, which they thought, I think, was going to be significantly cheaper though, that would require 4 same chips, right? They're 3 gigs each, so that's 12 gigs of VRAM, but those 4 chips now come at a price premium of, let's say, $60 each. That's $240. $240 total for 12 gigs of VRAM instead of $80 for 8. That is 3 times as much for only a small increase in VRAM. And if you think about it this way, the 5060 Ti basically uses, 8 of those 2 GB chips right now. 8 times 20 is $160. It's actually more money for them to produce a 5060 12 GB than it would be a 5060 Ti 16 GB. So the whole math and the economics of this just completely fall apart. So that gets us to a situation where basically the economics of launching the 50 Super Series, which by the way, a lot of AIBs are rumored to already have basically in stock. We haven't seen pictures of the boxes or anything, but they're basically manufactured at this point is what we've been told. We'll find out whether or not that's true, I guess, in due time. And we have a huge gap in the market where they were expecting to be able to introduce the 50 Super Series here, and all the existing 50 Series cards are selling out. My one problem I have with this is then why is the 5050 selling out? Why is the 5060 8GB selling out? Because typically you have sold an 8GB version of the 5060. Now, maybe they decided to phase out the 5060 8GB. Maybe the 5050 9GB, which is one of the cards that was rumored to exist, was actually going to happen, even though supposedly the 3060 12GB was supposed to be introduced back in the market to take that slot there. So that's one potential explanation for the absence of NVIDIA GPUs in the market right now. But there is a potentially even scarier reason that we might be seeing this right now. It's entirely possible that at some point, maybe even this has already happened, NVIDIA has decided, hey, we've got to continue to manufacture AI GPUs so number go up, that's our stock price. And right now, given what's going on with the tightness in terms of semiconductor manufacturing, we're going to just basically stop manufacturing gaming GPUs. That we are just essentially going to abandon gaming GPUs. Now, if they did this, I would not expect them to announce, hey guys, guess what? We're not going to manufacture gaming GPUs. And of course, they're not going to do that. They're just basically going to turn the tap off, right? I'm going to connect some dots here. You can decide whether or not you think this is happening or not, or whether it is a supply shortage. I'm leaning towards supply shortage, but I want to show you the scary potential truth here, which is, let's take a look at NVIDIA earnings over the past decade. Now, it used to be in 2016, if we go to the second quarter of 2016, they made $1.3 billion total, and almost all of that was gaming. Almost all of that was gaming. Fast forward to 2020 in the second quarter, and we again find that they've made $3 billion, a little over $3 billion total. 2 out of the 3 billion there was gaming, but a billion of it was now data center. So data center now a third of their revenue, gaming was 2/3. Okay, fast forward another 4 years, and we're going to go to the second quarter of 2024. Now they've made 26 billion. Whew, giant explosion. Gaming's only gone up to 3.5 billion. Data centers and AI are now 22.6 billion dollars of their total revenue. It's just about, about 85% overall. So gaming's fallen about 15%. Let's fast forward to quarter 2025, quarter 2 2025, because we're going to compare it to this year. Now they've gone up to $44 billion total in one single quarter. Remember, there's 4 financial quarters in a year. $44 billion in a single quarter. They're now making more money every quarter than if you took the history of NVIDIA and added it up. And this is per quarter. It's insane. $44 billion here. Gaming's only gone up to $5 billion. Meanwhile, AI and data centers are now basically just about 90% of the revenue. Let's go to the results that were posted recently for quarter 2. We are expecting quarter 3 results shortly. $81.6 billion, and only 6.37 is now gaming. So what does that mean? That means gaming is falling down towards 5%, possibly even lower. But here's the really challenging thing, and I will point you to Ed Zitron here, who does a lot of really good reporting to this. I'm going to link this article down in the video description. He's been reporting on kind of the circular financing of the AI data center industry, if you want to call it an industry, and how much of smoke and mirrors it's become. Because in order to justify NVIDIA's valuation, as he says, that number has to keep going up. The number that we just saw here has to keep going up, and it has to keep going up along this rocket ship trajectory. Can't just be the same as last quarter. It's got to massively increase every single quarter. Well, one of the problems that's going on right now is that at TSMC, as reported here in Astute Magazine, TSMC, one of the major manufacturers of NVIDIA GPUs, both AI and gaming, they're tight. They're tight on supply. They can't manufacture silicon fast enough. So what do they do if they're basically tight on supply? What do you think NVIDIA would do? Do you think they would stop manufacturing AI GPUs and risk that their stock valuation and that whole narrative that AI is exploding to make a couple gaming GPUs that don't make them anywhere near as much money, or would they give gaming up? And that's been the big question basically for quite some time. Now, when we took a look at this last year, I said, I could see a world in which NVIDIA said, you know what, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our stockholders. We're not just to gamers. I mean, gamers they pay us for GPUs, but our stockholders are the ones we're supposed to protect. And this is reality, folks. This is capitalism, right? It's the way it works. Now, I don't think they would ever say, we're moving on from gaming. I think the gaming GPUs would just go away. Is it what we're witnessing here, or are we seeing kind of a hiccup in terms of the introduction of the RTX 50 Super Series? I still lean towards that this is a hiccup in terms of the RTX 50 Super Series, but I do want to just postulate that it's entirely possible it's that second explanation, and well, I guess we're going to find out. Okay, so what would I do? If you need an NVIDIA GPU, I would probably go ahead and buy one. Unfortunately, if you want an RTX 5080, you're going to probably have to pay $1,500 to $1,600 for it right now. You could consider grabbing something off the used market like the RTX 4070 Ti 16 gigabyte Super. You can still pick those up. Check out our best GPU for gaming. We do go through used options in there. And this is what happens when things start to sell out. The prices just, whoo, man, you can't keep track of them. I would say if you need one of these GPUs for professional work, I would pick one up right now. Look, if we're wrong and there's discounts in the fall, you know, it is what it is, but you're basically gambling with your ability to get one if you need one. That's just what I'm saying right now. You probably can always buy one on the used market, but you will pay insane prices because those used sellers are just going to try and get everything they can out of them. All right, so let's talk about AMD GPU prices. That's what Maverick Mike wants to know. Why are the 9070 and 9070 XT prices increasing and going out of stock? Just demand or something else? Let's jump into that because I'm not sure that I necessarily agree that they are going out of stock. They are definitely coming up a little bit. In fact, let's just take a quick look at them. This is at Newegg for the 9070 XT. Now, the 9070 XT you could get on a flash sale during Prime Day for $649, but generally has been available for like $689 to $699 most of the year. The GPU prices, obviously, they have come up. There's $719. Last week, however, I just want to say there was a flash sale at Amazon for $689. I know the MSRP of this card is $599, folks, but I'm just dealing with the reality that exists, not the reality that I think we would like to exist. But right now, you can pick the Challenger up for $719, $729 for the XFX one. There's Yestron for $749. Then there's a number of models. They're basically available at $749. Some of them you can even get all-in-one liquid coolers. So there are some combo deals as well. This is not a situation where suddenly it's like $300 more expensive or $200 more expensive. Similarly, the 9070, there's not as many models over at Newegg. $649, you get a PSU that I really don't like. It's a C- PSU, so I'm not really going to kind of include it in like a combo deal. But $649, and you can go out and find, like for instance, right now at Amazon, you can pick up the Prime 9070 non-XT OC card for $629. So you can still find these out there. Yes, did get down to $579 during Prime Day. I would say that was probably the time to buy a GPU out there. But in terms of other GPUs, let's just continue on here to the 9070 GRE. He's actually seen a price decrease. Now, yes, these use GDDR6 memory, not GDDR7, not the more expensive stuff that NVIDIA uses, 12 gigs of it basically. So for instance, right here, you can, if you click this extra discount code, you'll get $35 off. $499 for the 9070 GRE. It's only 5% slower than the 5070 that now costs $800. $800 5070 or a $499 GPU that's only 5% slower. I mean, folks, come on, grab one of these GPUs. I know some people say, but I have to have NVIDIA. Okay, and you can go ahead and pay the price, unfortunately. Let's see what this one here, $20 off the Hellhound, but they're basically initially came out at $549 to $599. They're falling in price now to $499, which is a good thing to see. And then we got the 9060 XT, which unfortunately, very popular with 16 gigs of VRAM. Not anywhere near as fast, by the way, as the 9070 GRE. So I would not pick one of these up right now. I would pick up that 9070 GRE, 12 gigabyte instead, because is this ever going to be fast enough to take advantage of all 16 gigs of VRAM? I'm somewhat doubtful of that. I would steer clear of these right now, although I did find one over at Amazon right now. The Asus Dual one is actually one of the better models for $459. Again, spend $40 more, get that 9070 GRE, and if you look at the price and performance of that GPU, it is insane. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Do we expect AMD GPU prices to remain low if their competition essentially evaporates, just disappears from the market? And AMD, which used to supply 20% of global GPUs, NVIDIA was at least 80% of gaming GPUs on the desktop, all of a sudden is the only supplier out there. So you've got 100% of the market supplied by a company that was only supplying 20% of the market. Were they going to manufacture 4 or 5 times more GPUs than they're already manufacturing? So listen, it's supply and demand 101, right? It's Econ 101. Supply decrease, demand stays the same, price go up, all right? That's what we're probably expecting here. So would I wait to buy a GPU like the RX 9070 GRE, the 9070 XT? No, I would not. I'm not sure I would wait for Black Friday. I'm not sure I would wait for Amazon Prime Day. We may still see the market kind of correct, especially if we do get super GPUs that come into the market. But honestly, is it really worth it to save 15 or 20 bucks? I've linked all the GPUs down in the video description. You can check those links out right now for current pricing and availability in your region. See where the prices are right now. And again, I would not necessarily wait if you want to get something. If you got value out of this video, please give a like. Of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. Like, did you check out a recent look at CPU prices? Believe it or not, there are massive CPU price cuts, hopefully offsetting some of these GPU price increases. Check it out. Where's your CPU that you want to buy right now? Check it out, and we'll catch you on the next one.